Cam, obviously with you guys not having, DJ for today and probably a few games moving forward, I guess just how big was it and how much of a mental focus was it to step up defensively and kind of fill that role that he had?
Our focus all week was just getting back right defensively, getting back to our identity. So with or without DJ playing this week, we was gonna try to get back to that. But we got guys like Sean Jones and Murph to step up. But it's never we worry about the guy that's down. It's always the next guy back up.
Go ahead, Tan.
Rams, coming into this one, you knew their guard rotation was a big part of their offense. Was that something you guys talked about at all this week?
Yeah, we was kind of focusing it on 4 and 11, I think. They good players, and then we know we have to lock in on them for sure.
We'll keep it over here in front of Rams with Paul Jones, and then we'll go over to the other side with Justin.
Cam, how big was the rebounding advantage tonight for you guys?
Oh yeah, it's really really big, But that's what we try to make our identity is just rebounding, playing hard than the other team, really good defense. So it's just really exciting to get back on that side of things.
And this is for both of you guys. Obviously, still looking for that first road win. How big was it to get this win tonight and hopefully have some momentum this weekend at Missouri?
It was big. We needed this win for sure, just to let us know, give us confidence again that we could beat anybody.
Go ahead, Justin, to the players right or to the left.
Cam, you mentioned Keyshawn there. Just how nice was it to get him back, and how important is it, for you guys to have him, be productive and going forward for you guys to be the team you guys want to be.
Really exciting to have Murph back. He's a really good player. We're just going to work on him, getting back into the flow of things, locking in on scout, different things like that. But I got confidence in Murph that he's going to get back right, as you all can see. So shout out to Murph. Good game, little bro.
Questions for the players, raise your hands. Grace, you have one in the back? No, we'll go back over here to Steph.
Rams for you, obviously, tough stretch for you starting SEC play, and you kind of had that strong second half against Ole Miss. Do you feel like you're kind of getting some momentum and confidence back in yourself?
Yeah, it's shout out to my teammates and my coaches. They pushing me and helping me get through the tough times.
Okay, questions for the players? We've got time for a couple more. We'll stick with Steph.
Cam, you mentioned Sean, too, at the start there. I mean, what do you think of the way he kind of stepped up into starting role, a bigger role for him, and just how much confidence you guys have? I mean, he struggled shooting, but then he gets that big one kind of late in the game. Just how much confidence you guys have in him?
Sean Jones, we got a lot of confidence in him. He's a dog. He's a real good player, really high effort, really high compete level. So we already knew what we was going to get from Sean. It's just we got to get him to go out there and do it every night at a high level.
Last two, Paul, then Danny P.
Rams, you had 8 assists tonight, and you fed Tolu a lot. It seemed like Tolu had more explosion tonight to the rim than we've seen so far this season
in
since
his
he's
career.
come back from injury. You feel like he's getting closer back to being the old Tolu?
Yeah, it's just with that injury, it just take time. So he's coming back for sure.
And Cam, just talk about the scoring balance tonight. 4 guys in double figures, and you were almost there. Just when you're doing that kind of stuff, it makes it easier.
Oh, yeah, just having even and balanced scoring makes it easier for everybody else to get involved. There's no one option you can really key on. Everybody's just all clicking on cylinders.
Coach, obviously with no DJ today, what do you think of the way, Sean, Keyshawn, and some others kind of stepped up and filling that role, and especially on the defensive end?
You can look at Sean Jones's box score and say, oh, he didn't shoot it very well, he didn't play great, et cetera. But I thought he played with great mental. I thought he had a great approach. I thought he was flying around, defending, running the court. And then for him to take that shot, I talked about it in the locker room with the guys. I mean, that he just got confidence running through his veins because that was a big shot at a big moment, and he hadn't made one and he had shot a few, and I was proud of him. That was a big shot for him personally, and kind of says shows you where he's at. But I thought Keyshawn obviously gave us a big boost on the offensive end. He made 4 of our 25 baskets. He obviously is very talented. We've been talking about him since we've arrived. And now on the other end, he struggled a little bit on that end of the floor. He blew some coverages, and certainly he's got to get going on that end. And we basically in the second half started saying we can't play him that long. Just his game legs and his rhythm and his cardio. But he. Especially given the DJ situation, it was nice to be able to have another guy to throw out there, that had some size.
We'll go to Paul right in front of
Got
Coach.
a couple. I guess, first of all, just your thoughts on the defensive effort, especially in the first half against Georgia. And then it kind of goes under the radar with the scoring that people had tonight, but to see Rams get 8 assists and direct that offense like he's accustomed to doing.
Yeah, our first 10, 12 minutes of defense was as good as any 10, 12 that I can remember in a while. I thought we were locked in, and they were fighting and scratching and clawing, and even their first basket was, a tough shot that Thomason made, and, we were really guarding them, and that was kind of deflating a little bit, but we were going. Our motors were revved. Guys were flying around. Our huddles were really good. The second half, obviously, they scored a little bit more, but I still felt like we were guarding. Certainly, T comes into play at times. But we did a good job of getting the scout in the game. We did some different things in some of their actions, and I was nervous about it because we had blew a couple of those coverages leading up to the game, but we stuck with it, and then they did fine. They did fine. They were assignment correct, and but that style of play, that's kind of been the blueprint for a lot of our wins, and we talked a lot about that heading into the game of how we need to play, we need to stay in our character, and I thought for the most part we did tonight.
Tanner on the end of coach's right, first row.
Coach, Georgia's top 3 leading scorers, all guards. What do you think of kind of the backcourt defense from y'all's side tonight?
Thomason really hurt us, especially early. He kind of carried them in the first half, and we talked a lot about him at halftime of when you're guarding him, you just, you can't have your hands down at all. He's got size, and he's got some shiftiness and that step-back move that he could create some space, and we don't have the biggest guards out there all the time. So that was a big, topic of discussion. And then we had went under a couple ball screens of guys that, you can't afford to do that. So we were trying to, get that into the halftime adjustment part of the game. But I think overall, in face value, that they did a pretty good job. You got to guard a lot of action, a lot of ball screens. They got great spacing. They got downhill guys. I thought I did an excellent job on their point guards with Hill and Damari. I think our guys really fought them. We talked a lot about staying down on shot fakes. They're really good at getting in the lane and then, enticing the big or the guard to fall for it. And we did it a couple times, which was disappointing. But overall, again, on face value, I thought we did a pretty good job out there.
We'll go second row to coach's right with Danny P. and then Brian.
Coach, 4 guys in double figures scoring wise. There were 2 got his points, but with Keyshawn getting 10, how important was it to get that balance scoring? And Cameron was almost there.
Yeah, we prefer that. It's just harder to play against, harder to scout, and I didn't really address it, but I singled out a couple guys in the locker room. Sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't. But Rams Davis was one. 8-1 is elite, and he was playing hard. Like he was competing, he was pushing the ball, he was making the right pass. He again, in that little flurry we had, he made the 3 to give us some distance, and I thought he played really, really well. So it's, we don't care how we win. Certainly, if we got a couple guys getting 20-plus, great. But I think if we had our druthers, we'd have more guys in double figures like that.
Which stat makes you happier? Only 10 turnovers or 16 of 19 from the line?
10 turnovers. I like them both a lot, but I got to say because of that Achilles heel and obviously in SEC play, we're not shooting it at the line like we were in the fall. It's dropped considerably, but they've been working. Cam Matthews has been in that gym on his own, and for him to get the reward, it's got to make him feel good going forward.
We'll go back to the cameras and Grace, and then we'll come down to Justin.
Georgia led just once, and it was in the first 2 minutes of the game. Despite, their runs, how were you guys able to keep them at an arm's length distance away?
Yeah, we kept relying on our defense. Just talked about getting multiple stops. Our leaders, like Tolo Smith, was very verbal in the huddles. He was very encouraging. Every huddle, he was talking to the guys and saying the right stuff. And Cam Matthews was doing it as well. And our huddles were lively. They were energized. They were competitive. And it felt good. Obviously we got up 13 and then bang, it was like 5, when they got added the point with the video review of the 3 and it felt funny right there because I thought we'd been playing pretty well and we were only up 5. But I was really happy to see the response. Let's just be honest. Like, we didn't have a good taste in our mouth. We were very disappointed about our effort and the final score in our last outing. And I felt like Monday and Tuesday were huge days for us and how we were going to respond. And I just told them when I drove home Monday, because I didn't know. And after the talks and the practice that, hey, they responded about as well as I could have asked them to respond. And then to be able to, win a game at home and play the way we did, that's got to get them more confident going forward on what we need to do.
Chris, obviously with Keyshawn, tonight with the depth, that production was needed, but bigger picture-wise, how important is getting that going forward for the team to get the look you want them to have? And then on top of that, maybe even getting Tolu some extra rest minutes here and there because he's now back in the fold?
Yeah, he's so versatile, right? I mean, he can score it anywhere on the court. 3, back down, drive it, and the passing is overshadowed. He's an excellent passer. He makes passes where I'm like, who's he throwing it to? And it's he just got a feel. But because he can stretch it, and like you said, he is an option as small ball 5. We definitely had that in our minds, before he got injured, et cetera, even in last year, just because of his skill set. But, it's just nice to have more live bodies. We got another live body, and I know, DJ and Trey are, working diligently behind the scenes to get back, and we need them both back to just, we didn't have any foul trouble tonight, so we escaped that. We didn't have any major foul trouble, and that was a worry going in because you have to have we had to possibly play some weird lineups, but we didn't have to tonight.
Benjamin and then Jack to coach's left front row.
Talking more big picture, we were talking after the Alabama game and earlier this week about this needing to be the start of that late season turnaround for you guys to get where you want to be. You pleased so far through one game of this critical stretch?
I am, not just the game, but like I said earlier, that was a tough night. It's a tough Sunday. It was a tough meeting. It wasn't a raise the decibel meeting. It was a matter of fact to the point of, this is why it happened. Film, talk. For the first time in a long time, we had players talking, and some things that were said were serious. And I loved how they did it. I loved how they talked about, issues that are below the surface. And everyone handled it really well. And then our practice was one of the better practices we've had in a long time on Monday. That's why I felt good when I went home. And then Tuesday, it was very similar mindset, and you could feel that they were ready to play. So, we're just starting the second half of this deal. There's a lot of games to be played, but certainly considering the circumstances, I loved how we responded all week.
When you look at that plus-minus column, Cam Matthews really sticks out there, plus 23. I guess just talk about the impact he made that makes you as a team so effective when he's on the floor.
He's our leader. He's our heartbeat. He's our personality. If I had my druthers, that's, how we would play, how he plays. And he's got to be a nightmare to talk about because, he's got a unique game. With not shooting the 3 much and just his bully driving and the way he slices the court and his vision, to be able to pass to people. Him and Tolu got, great chemistry that they've developed over time, and he's really good on the interior, but now he's getting better at hitting the guys at the 3. But he's a major piece of what we're trying to do, and he just needs to continue to be that leader that we need him to be.
We'll wrap it up with Steph, Paul, and Justin.
You've had a ton of praise for Sean, these last couple seasons. I mean, he's a guy that last season when you guys brought him in, a lot of us didn't expect to play right away. What do you think of the way he's kind of embraced these last 2 years, any role that he's been given, and now, especially getting a starting role, a bit of an elevated role with DJ out?
We had a tough film session the other day. It was post Ole Miss, and I called him out on some things, and I didn't know how he'd react, and it's been awesome. He took it, and he's elevated his game. He's elevated his compete level. I thought he made a huge step in his growth as a person, as a player. But he's he's valuable for us. He's got that length. He flies around. He can run and finish, and certainly he can make a three. Once in a while, enough to keep people honest. And now he's shot faking and driving a little bit more. But it was invaluable tonight because of the obvious with DJ, and he stepped right in there. And like I said earlier, I thought he had a really good game, despite maybe the numbers not being eye popping.
Just obviously to get that win tonight and get some momentum, obviously Saturday's big for a lot of reasons, trying to get that first road win. How important was it to get that win tonight to hopefully get that momentum?
Obviously nobody looks ahead, but we talked Monday. I'm like, listen, we're going to focus solely on Georgia. But I'm just being real with you. We got to win too. We got to go 2-0 this week. That's just the way it is. So get your mind around it. We got to be really good. Everything we're doing Monday and Tuesday not just impacts Wednesday, but it's going to impact Saturday as well. And so we were up front, and we normally don't do that. I don't know a lot of programs that do that, but we try to tell them the truth and make sure they understand what we're about to embark on. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. They play a different style. I haven't gotten too deep into them. I will here shortly, but I know their style is different, and I know they're hungry to protect their home court and get a win, and we've got to match their mindset.
Chris, there maybe aren't a lot of teams that can have some of those airing of grievances meetings and come out of it right on the other end. Just why do you think this group was able to do that, and how important is having a player-led group be able to do that and come out and win?
Like I said earlier, we're just starting this second half of the SEC, but I didn't know. I know what I wanted. I've talked before about, just because last year we had a similar record and we flipped it and played our way into the NCAA tournament. Just because we did that, and I've told them that, doesn't mean it's going to happen again. That particular team stayed together and stayed the course and continued to work, and we figured out a way to put ourselves in position to win enough games in order to do that. Well, this team, I don't know, but you got to start somewhere, and we're on the right track.